the 1980s, a time for big hair, larger-than-life heroes, and big dreams. Everyone had a Walkman in their backpack and a VCR in their living room, and the movie industry was entering the golden era of home video. To my family, I'm known as Rhianne Paz Bergado, but on set, my friends just call me Rhi. And growing up in the storage room of my parents' video store might have had an influence on me. But our story isn't about time travel in a DeLorean or even a teen coming-of-age movie. It actually starts decades ago and oceans away.
It's all right. Tell your story how it began.
I love stories. I set all this up just to hear stories.
What happened is Grandpa, when he early 20s, Japanese occupation already, and Japanese get him, put him on the truck and send him to Cebu. That's where he learned to be a mechanic. After the Japanese occupation, then the U.S. liberated the Philippines, and still your Grandpa worked, with the camp of U.S. military. The story I heard that the U.S. start bombing, any part like Cebu, and they were, I think, in a room. When they hear, the sound of the bomb, your grandma throw me in the window, then pick me up. Maybe if you throw me and the bomb hit there, I'm outside and they're inside.
So in the last bombings of World War II, my dad, Raul, basically began his career as the action star of his own life.
Oh, you know me, I like action, Western. Like all of Charles Bronson during his time, like all the Dead Witch and Stallone, the Rocky, the First Blood.
There's not that many good movies. So Dad would buy these movies and he'd bring him home first so I could watch them. I never watched them. Because sometimes I look at it and I go, I already know the plot. My mom told me once, she goes, Rita, you're so lazy. Your brothers and sisters won't even share food with you because you're so lazy. I mean, to me, it wasn't important to cook dinner a certain time. Because when I go home, I would go in the hammock, get the transistor radio and get a book. That's how I wanted to spend my day. My aunt's uncle worked in Tarlac. And he worked there. Dad was like the secretary to the president. You know how Filipinos are, they always play basketball or drink together, going pasyal. That's how he told him about me.
I know your mom already. Because before I worked in that factory, I worked with this uncle. That's the mistake that her uncle did to me.
Oh, I wasn't serious about anything, and then he kept saying,
You mean you weren't serious about Dad?
No, it was America was still not even on my mind. And then he tells me he has to renew his visa already because, he wanted to get married before he leaves after he met me.
Then when I talked to the manager of that agency, you know what? He said, in California, I think there are too many applicants already. He put my application in New Jersey. When I'm preparing now to go to America, Manang Pem, he said, why he have to go to New Jersey? Why not just stay with us? So I'm lucky because somebody offering me to stay. And when the late Auntie Modesty is the one who always cook me good, they know that probably we don't eat steak, in the Philippines. Always cook steak for me.
It probably wouldn't surprise you to know that food is a cultural form of affection in the Philippines. And growing up, the steak dinner was always the ultimate symbol of success and celebration for my dad. Preparing and sharing a meal together has always bonded us. And I'm glad that my dad was able to find some kind of comfort in this brave new world called Long Beach, California.
And your Auntie Modest have lots of brother, working in the cannery in Terminal Island in Long Beach. One of his brothers told me, you know what, you want a job? Come with me. So I do, just stay there, in the door where the personnel office is, And sometimes somebody will go out, and when he look for somebody, he just point, "Hey, come here, you want a job?" Yeah. I was hired and worked there, I think, 5 years.
Well, I wasn't that worried because I know Dad was here when I get here, but the only thing I told him, I said, I'm not going to live with your relatives. He did. When I came, he got the apartment.
And we're lucky because we just pay $80 a month.
Long Beach then was dirty, and the pike was still there, and people would like park their cars. You see, they drink outside by the streets. There is something that happens when you come to a different country. It's like, even if it's old and ordinary, to the people that live there, to you, there is that newness of everything. I already came with a degree, and I had like year and a half into the master's program. I wanted to teach, but when you first come here, you have an accent, of course, and everything here is just different.
My sister Ruby Lynn was born in that tiny apartment on Chestnut Street. And 5 years later, tiny Rhianne was born. Long Beach is known for many things, well, mostly Snoop Dogg and the Queen Mary. I spent the first 10 years of my life here, and I loved it so much that after I was all done with school and had gotten married, I came back for another 10 years.
I heard about the video now, the video rentals. I like to open a business. That's the main reason. If maybe by having a business, it will change our life.
I never thought Daddy would be a businessman. He doesn't have that wiring for a businessman, but we kind of talked about it, and I basically, okay, if that's what you want, because he needed something to do.
When was that about though, like 85? Everybody had the big tall hair. I remember them showing it to us, and I knew they were opening a video store, and we had 2 spaces, and the first one was a lot smaller. It was smaller and darker, just like a lot of wood. And it looked empty because we were just starting. There was like maybe like 1 or 2 rows of beta, and then like only a couple rows of VHS. I pick you up from school, and then I drive to the video store. That was a lot of driving for me because I would drive through Bellflower to Downey, Paramount, and leave you there with Dad because I had no babysitter, and you guys could help at the store.
My mom had worked the graveyard shift as a nurse for as long as I could remember. She would sleep in the day, pick us up from school, and take us to the video store before starting her night shift. My dad fed us so many TV dinners, he actually nicknamed us Chicken a la King and Salisbury Steak. We worked on the weekends too. Before the store opened, my parents loaded us up into the old Filipino van conversion, and we would pass out Berg's video flyers door to door, no matter how scary the house and no matter how many dogs would chase us.
And we were there almost every day, every weekend. I was always kind of like a mother hen, so I probably thrived on the fact that, ooh, it's a store, and I get to like run a store and stuff, and always wanted to be the one writing the receipts, and always wanted to be the one doing the things and organizing. So I remember that his system of doing it was kind of like the old way they did it at Blockbusters. We would take them out of the packaging, we put them in those plastic cases. It's just so funny because everything was really simple. I mean, we didn't have a cash register, we didn't have a computer. It wasn't even a box. I think it was like a Tupperware thing that held forks and spoons. Mom used that, put that under the counter, and that's where the money went, like 10s, 5s, and 1s, and you throw the 20s underneath.
He was excited about getting the new movies, you mean? Yeah, because he was always wanting to see a movie.
We had access to any movie, so anything new that came out, we always got it first. We were able to see it. But then the funny thing is we also watched the same movies over and over again.
Growing up in a video store was like growing up in a visual candy store. The studios sent us promo items every week. We had hats, mugs, clocks, toys, and of course posters that we would plaster all over our bedroom ceiling. In this photo, I'm wearing a promo shirt that says, "Take me with you, stranger," from the cult classic, You're, Hunter from the Future. I also remember getting a series of kites to promote the movie The Boy Who Could Fly and playing with them at the Long Beach Lighthouse. I have so many amazing memories that other kids just didn't experience.
I mean, they kept going with the business. It was a little mom and pop's video store, and it started growing, so we moved into a bigger spot, and that spot was huge. It was huge. I remember walking in, double glass doors, and on the left was a small area was beta, VHS, and it eventually turned into VHS. In the corner was the adult section.
And I'm gonna tell a story about a great player. He's a wild receiver. I always hear his name, when I'm watching the Raider game. Are you the Raiders play? Yeah. Wow. He come with the 3 white lady in his side. And you know what the first thing he asked? Where's the adult movie?
I mean, it was doing good, but then I remember there were some bad times, and I remember some mornings where it's just like, hey, there's this financial issue, there's that financial issue. We had to keep the store afloat. And after a while, I don't think it was making money. I didn't really know or understand the negative aspects of it, but I do remember Mom and Dad working really hard to get the business started, and the business part of it just didn't work. And then eventually that started dying out, and as you know now, it's completely gone.
During the time, 85, there's no big competition yet. That's why all the small video rental is making money, because no competition. Yeah. Then here come the warehouse, here come the Blockbuster.
And of course they have more, they've got 10 copies of everything. It's a little bit cheaper, so it got hard for the little mom and pop's businesses. They tried it. And you think, hey, I could, stop working and we could make a business, but there's just a lot to a business, and you have to be able to put that money into it, and if it doesn't keep staying afloat, it becomes more of a struggle, and that's hard when you have a home and a mortgage and 2 kids. I think they made the smart choice to sell it.
But I like those days, we're happy.
Berg's video was.
I think, if not mistaken, the one with 12818.
I never told you guys this, but remember when there was a bakery here?
Louise Bakery.
Yeah.
I used to buy whole eclairs and eat them before I got back, so you guys didn't know I was eating extra snacks. All the time. I did it twice a week.
And remember when we have the flyer? Who was chased by the dog? Ruby?
Ruby was chased by a dog. So this is definitely a bakery now. Oh, whoa, weird.
The doors are the same.
Yeah, this is a lot smaller. I like it better because I like cakes. But how funny how different this is.
I think the space, it's always been wide. I remember it just looks, I think.
But it was really deep though.
And this one, all of both sides, they have 2 racks for the video, remember?
Yeah, all the walls were just shelves.
I'm thankful that I came to America. At the start, me and Mommy, we grew up on the lower part of the family. We lived sometime in just one small room.
I think immigration-wise though, I knew they wanted us to have a better life than what she had. She'd always tell us the stories of I'd get 1 dress a year and I'd have to walk to school and carry my shoes. I always knew that she wanted that better life for us, and she gave us that. She became a nurse, she made good money. She was able to give us a lot of things.
I would send my children to school no matter what it cost me. To me, education is something that you leave your family, that they cannot sell, they cannot loan out, they cannot leave behind.
Creating this documentary with my family made me realize that to my parents, Berg's video was just a failed business. It may not even be something they're proud of or a story worth telling in their eyes. But all the risks they took, even coming to America in the first place, created a domino effect of amazing events that allowed both myself and my sister to reach for dreams we didn't even know we had access to. One of the hardest parts of telling this story was finding the films and videos and photos that were tucked away. Sadly, many of those memories were discarded, but I found that archiving and saving our family stories is not an emotional sign of sentimental weakness. It's actually a sign of strength and solidarity.
Hey, Joaquin, can you take a picture of us? Come here, buddy. Now you're a camera operator, all right?